I always
Okay, let's see.
hate that I have to click OK when it says that.
You have to click OK.
I always get a message once it says it'll say it's being recorded at the top, and there's a little button to click OK. Do you guys get that?
No, I don't even get
I,
that.
I don't know.
I
It's
get
just
every
Oh,
meeting.
yes, it is too. Yes, I see it now. Yes.
Yeah, starts recording. There's a little message at the top. The meeting's being recorded, and there's a little button to hit OK.
there's
And I
also
guess
an option, don't show this again.
I mean, I
Do
guess
you
it's
see that?
good to know that somebody's recording your meeting, but the voice just said it. So
Okay, then let's see. John's at the top. John, wave. John's our president. Steve's our first VP. Steve. Okay. Um, Glenn's our second VP, and I'm the secretary and I do the website. And Alan isn't right here yet. Let's see what else. In February, we were talking about possible Apple announcements, which might come later this month. And if that's the case, then February will be talked about all the different things that Apple announces, new products and such like that. Um, our membership rewards program will continue for the first half of, excuse me, of 2026. And in the December, let's see, June meeting, I'm reading it off an old thing, but the June meeting will have the withdrawal from the awards banquet. Let's see. Tonight we have, oh, do we have anybody questions or tips or tricks for the group? Small as it is.
Well, one quick observation. I think I've mentioned this before, and it's persisting. Um, and I think this began with the latest Mac OS update. When I'm watching podcasts on the Apple Podcast app, it used to be that I could pause the podcast to go off and do what I needed to do and come back and just click click it again and it would resume. Lately, it does not show the either doesn't show the it doesn't play the audio. Usually, it just doesn't play the video, or you can't see the video in the entire window that the podcast is carved out for itself. And the only way around it is to quit the podcast app, restart the computer, restart the podcast app, and then it works. But anytime you want to, like if I'm watching a podcast for a while and I have to stop and get up and do something, it's the same thing. Don't try to uh, don't try to uh, pause the podcast app, quit out of it. Now, fortunately, when you go back into it, it starts you up where you last left off, so you don't have to waste time rewatching what you've already watched. But it is a persistent problem. It's persisted now through a couple of small point 0.1 updates in Tacoma, or Tahoe rather. So I'm not sure why it's doing it, but it is doing it repeatedly. I haven't tried to take the thing to the Apple store yet or anything like that. I'm just noticing that it's happening.
John, so is explain to me again. I'm a little foggy on what it's doing exactly.
So I open up a podcast. I open up the podcast app and start watching a podcast. If I need to stop it for a while, I could just hit the pause button. Okay, go away, do what I've got to do, come back, and then just hit play again. When I do that, I can't get the picture to display.
Does
Um,
the audio run?
yeah, but it's a combination. Well, the audio general, I think I said before the audio doesn't run. That's not true. The audio is not the problem. The
So the
problem,
audio continues, you just lose your video.
yeah, when I come back and start the thing again, the audio continues, but I've lost the video. And if sometimes I can get the video to display like in a little thumbnail, but I can't enlarge the video to make it take up the whole window like it usually does. And the only way around it, as I say, is to quit the podcast app, um, restart the computer, start the podcast up, add podcast app up again, and it's as though it had never happened. But then if you wait a little while, hit pause, and then come back and try to hit play again, the whole cycle repeats. So it's extremely repeatable. reproducible. I mean, I just don't know why it's doing it. And at some time not so long ago, it didn't. I'm thinking about taking the darn thing to the Apple Store just to show them that and see if any of them has any clues as to what it might be. I haven't come across anything in any of the forums where people are seeing this. So
Unfortunately, I mean, I use Apple Podcasts app, but I don't do it on my computer very often. And I certainly have not done it since I've updated to Tahoe. I do it on my phone. I use my phone a lot, and I've never experienced what you're saying. What I will do is either after this meeting tonight or sometime tomorrow, I will try to remember and I will do it on my computer just to test it and see if I get the same thing. I'll let you know.
Okay.
What happens. By the way, before you go over to the Apple Store, you might want to just try calling Apple, since it's a software related thing and not a hardware related thing, where they're going to need to test your hardware. That just saves you a trip.
True enough.
So, but I'll try to test that for you and see what I come up with. And, because if I do, obviously it's a Tahoe thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a Tahoe thing, but I can't recall exactly when it started. Now, by the way, there is one advantage to taking the thing to the Apple Store. And that is that when we're going to West County Mall, where there is a Hallmark store that has Christmas tree ornaments and such things that my wife likes. See, whereas if I call them, there's no Hallmark store, but if I go to the mall, there is.
Yes.
I gotta
Right.
say, I despise that the Apple Store is in malls here, because it's like I just want to go to the Apple Store. I don't want to have to deal with a
I
stupid
know.
mall.
Yeah.
And I wish they weren't in malls. And the other thing, like I just had an appointment today at the Apple Store, which if you all are dealing with the Apple Store, I recommend making an appointment, because it seems like these days, and I don't care even if it's the middle of the week, in the morning or something, if you don't make an appointment, it seems like the wait times are interminable. And even when you do make an appointment, I'll check in, a few minutes, 5-10 minutes before my appointment. But I've had maybe 3 appointments last 6 months, and I'm never taken on time. And so it just seems like everything backs up there quite a bit.
Unless you're there to buy something, they'll take you pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? The genius I was working with today, she was very nice. I appreciated what she was doing for me, but it's just my guess is just the volume versus the manpower. So, but that's why just because of having to go to the mall and having to deal with the time there and everything. First I try to troubleshoot on my own, and then if I can't figure it out, next I will call, Apple tech support and see if I can get some help on the phone. Although I will definitely say that what you get on the phone is a mixed bag, and good luck what you get, who you get to work with.
That's been my experience too.
I would say a lot of times I have a lot more knowledge than they do. So,
Yeah. Well,
and
the other advantage to going to the Apple Store is, besides the Hallmark store, there's also a little thing called Starbucks.
yeah, well, as long as you enjoy that, John, and not knock yourself out.
Yeah, I didn't want to take up. I don't want to take up any more of the time. So it's a reproducible problem. What the source of it is, I don't know. Maybe I'll try to get some help with it.
Well, like I said, John, I'm going to set a reminder for myself to try to look at it and just play and see if I can reproduce the problem that you're getting.
Yeah.
So
I'd be very interested to see if you're able to reproduce it.
And while we're talking, before we move on, I just want to put that reminder in your ear, John, about the GAMUG flyers.
Oh, yes.
So,
Okay, any other questions out there?
Questions?
Well, I guess not.
I have a
So,
question.
yes,
I read recent, my computer is after me to upgrade my OS. And I've read several things that say, there's really no good reason to go to, is it Tahoe?
Yeah.
What's the opinion? Do it or don't
Do it.
do it?
Do it.
do it.
can I just say, Lyman, that I've never not upgraded to a whatever the system is on any of my devices. Um,
I
you
have
know,
I have also done that, but I just happened pure coincidence. Seen a couple of references and said, there are problems with this and there are glitches with that. And I thought maybe there's something different this time. But the consensus is do it.
well, here's the thing.
I
You're
have your
always gonna
names
find,
and the faces.
you're always going to find,
Too late.
every system for every device, you're always going to find people that are like, this is the worst system ever. Don't do it. It's going to totally ruin your life. And I never understand like all of that. And I got to tell you, it's been years since I've had a software compatibility issue with updates as well. I mean, I don't know, like 10, 15 years at least. I can't even remember the last time I updated and then I had a piece of software that was incompatible.
Good. I appreciate then, and I will do it. Thank you.
Yeah, there's always going to be things with each system iteration that, yeah, I like this better than that, or I used to like this, or why did they move this here kind of stuff. But, obviously John's having a little issue, but like when I upgrade, I never find things that are like, I might prefer the things, but nothing that has ever made me go, yeah, this sucks. I really wish I hadn't done this. I'm going to wipe my drive and, that kind of thing. So
I,
that's just me. I mean, I know there are other people out there that are very cautious and,
I,
you know,
I'd like to say on my own situation, I have a printer that's probably 10 years old. It's a laser printer and it works just fine. And it's a Samsung, and I think they got out of the business. And so you can't get, unless I don't know what I'm doing, which is entirely possible, get the new driver with the new system. So that can be an issue. I've ultimately I've got several printers, some sophisticated inkjet and a laser. Um, that now I I've decided to upgrade on my laptop and test the print to see that I can go ahead and print
Sure.
properly with my desktop,
yeah.
because I have run into that problem. So sometimes the manufacturers don't keep up with the updates.
That makes sense what you're saying. Although I guess, man, I don't print anymore, so it's not something that's really on my radar, to be honest with you. But
Sure.
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I guess if you're dealing with hardware that, I mean, frankly, 10 years in computer terms is like the
It's
Stone
true.
Age.
It's
Yeah.
true, but it just keeps working. So
Yeah, I get it.
I had
Yeah,
an extra Mac left over that I just left it hooked up to that one with the old system. And when I would need to print an NFL, sheet for my uh, the games, whatever, to get in the pool and submit, whatever. But I mean, I still use a laser printer for black and white stuff. I use quite a bit, really. I'm surprised you guys don't ever need to print anything.
my goal is to eliminate all paper from my life if possible, other than maybe toilet paper.
Actually, Francis, I was about to make a similar point in Lyman. When you in deciding in years past when a new operating system would come up, and what I always advised was waiting for at least the point one improvement to come along, because that would give you enough time to see whether other people reported difficulties with device drivers, printer drivers and scanner drivers being the most notorious, or whatever other peripherals you might have had connected to your computer. Like Glenn, I don't use nearly as many of those peripherals. I do have a color laser printer sitting over here, but we use pretty infrequently. But I mean, it's there. So unless you're reliant on a printer, especially a printer with an older one where you can't get the driver update, go ahead and update the OS. But if you are reliant on the thing, then unless you're lucky enough to have an extra computer sitting there that can run the old operating system and operate the printer, Okay, if you've got that ability like Francis does, go ahead and update the OS on your main computer. If you don't have that, then you got to think twice as to whether or not the advantages of updating the OS are worth possible loss of the functionality of that printer. So it's a juggling act, but I'd say to the extent the less dependent you are on device drivers for older hardware, the easier the decision is to update the OS. If you are dependent on those old peripherals, and if there's maybe some difficulty in getting the device drivers updated, then you might want to hold off for a while.
Well, you're right about the 10 years of laser. I got my money's worth out of it, but the darn thing just keeps working perfectly.
Yeah.
I
And
get
I
it.
mean, to replace it nowadays, I think I paid $75 for it back then, but I mean, today probably a couple $100 to get a decent one. And I don't know. I just don't want to do that if I don't have to. That's the only thing.
Man, I've
Well,
been through over the years. I think I've been through so many printers. It's like sometimes it's easier to go buy a new one than even getting ink for some of them, the cost of it.
It's true.
My my brother had a print, gave up on printing too. He's just said he wants to get a print done. He goes to an Office Depot or something like that and gets a couple copies.
You know,
Well, I'll say one thing about I bought an Epson color printer because my wife uses it a lot for the Women's Society thing at church, and it's also a scanner, so she can scan documents in. That's what I'm, and main reason I did it because the darn thing quit working on AirPrint. So I
yeah.
could pass her something and she could print it, but I couldn't print it.
Ah,
Pretty frustrating. So I bought a new Epson printer, went on there and went through the process of looking for the driver, and it said, take this driver for this model. And then I went to the driver and it said, oh, it's not compatible with your unit. I went, well, what am I supposed to do now? Well,
Really?
the generic driver worked just fine, the one
yeah.
that's already built into the system. So
I
you
will say
kind of have to
this.
get a unique driver.
I
That's my
will say this. When printers act up and don't want to work, they are more aggravating than any other like device I can think
yeah.
of.
True.
You
You
got
know,
lots of devices,
when I
buddy.
retired from teaching 3 years ago, it's like I pretty much went paperless in my life. And even then in my classroom, for the most part, I was because we were doing everything on computer. But I literally might have the need. I can count on one hand the number of times that I might want a printout of something. And then generally speaking, I will ask my wife when she goes to school to print it out for me and bring it home. And she'll do that. And
Over here.
That's cheating.
it's like I'm out of ink, but it's like I don't want to go spend all the money for ink because I print, it's not worth me going and spending all that money on ink to print, like I said, maybe 2 or 3, 4 times a year or something.
Well,
I
this
print about as much as
these
I take a
big models
stamp and put
now.
it on an envelope and put that thing in the mail anymore.
You're lucky. You're lucky.
Yeah, they got these big bottles now. You don't have to go out and buy those cartridges. They're like
Yeah.
a universal cartridge, and then you keep pouring new stuff down in the throat.
I got to tell you, I've had trouble getting that stuff to work.
No,
I've had multiple printers that would not accept the ink if it wasn't the actual manufacturer ink.
That's
And so I gave up on trying that stuff. All right. Any other questions, guys?
not a question, no.
All right. Ron, should I go ahead with the goodies?
Yeah, I assume so.
Okay. Let's do it then. All right. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Snowman.
All right. There we go. January snowman. That certainly does not look like St. Louis, but
Not yet.
yeah, as soon as we say that, we're going to have like 3 feet of snow, Actually, I don't know if you all know this, but traditionally, some of our largest snows occur in March. Now, the nice thing is they tend to melt fast because it warms up, but we've gotten some doozies in March before. All right, so a couple things that I want to kind of follow up with you guys in my goodies. The first thing I mentioned a few months ago that Apple was looking for somebody to come in and take over the Apple Card. And so Apple just recently confirmed that Chase is going to come in and be the new issuer of the Apple Card. They're going to take over for Goldman Sachs. And this transition, they said, is going to take about 2 years. So we're probably at least into 27 before this happens. As I understand it, if you're an Apple Card holder and you use that, you won't have to do anything. I mean, that's what they're saying. We'll find out. I mean, if if that happens down the road, but supposedly it's supposed to be a seamless transition, but you know how that goes. So if you do want to learn, more about this whole transition, I've got that website there. It's learn.applecard.apple/transition that you can go to, and they've got all kinds of, FAQ questions and things like that there.
Yeah, Glenn?
Yeah.
Like just in sort of comment, I have called customer service for Goldman Sachs, and they seem kind of uninterested in helping. On the other hand, I have 2 Chase credit cards. I think they have the best customer service of any credit card out there. So I welcome this news. I think it's a good transition.
That's good to know. I'm gonna, if you don't mind, give me 1 second. I'm gonna stop that. I'm gonna go back to it, and I just needed to turn a setting off because I was losing some of my page there. So sorry about that. Okay, there we go. Well, good. I'm all for good customer service, but I mean, my opinion of good customer service, it's kind of like Bigfoot. It's a rare sighting when and it's hard to find. So in fact, I think it's funny with good customer service, and I don't know about you guys, but it's like whenever I get really good customer service, I'm so taken aback by it. It's like, wow, that was a great experience. It's like, well, that's what it should be all the time. All right. So this past Saturday on the 10th was the 20th anniversary of Steve Jobs' announcement of the MacBook Pro. And so it was his one more thing that he liked to do segment at the old Macworld San Francisco keynote. And it was on January 10th, 2006. So for those of you using a MacBook Pro, it's now turned 20, and you can see a picture there of the original MacBook Pro, what it looked like. And the first thing that jumps out at me is the drive on the front there. The good old, we don't insert discs or anything anymore into computers. So anyway, if you'd like to see the keynote there, by the way, I do have on the screen, the YouTube, you can actually pull that up and watch that. So I'll just read a bit of this quote to you here. The MacBook Pro is an evolution of the previous PowerBook as a professional level laptop in Apple's lineup, but with the shift from Power PC chips to Intel Core chips, Apple decided to launch a rebrand. The MacBook Pro was initially available only in a 15-inch size, with a 17-inch model following a few months later. A 13-inch aluminum MacBook debuted in October 2008, and after just one generation, it was folded into the MacBook Pro lineup in 2009. The original MacBook Pro came in 2 configurations, both with 15.4-inch widescreen displays at a resolution of 1440 by 900 pixels. As announced, the entry-level model priced at $1,999, featuring a 1.67 gigahertz Core Duo processor, 512 megabytes, blah, 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 and an 80 gigabyte hard drive, while the higher-end model priced at $2,499 had a faster 1.3 gigahertz Core Duo processor, 1 gig of RAM, and 100 gigabyte hard drive. So that was the original MacBook Pros that just turned 20.
That one they mentioned, the 13-inch MacBook was not a Pro then, huh?
No, that was just, if you remember, there used to be a MacBook line and a MacBook Pro line. And so
the start of the MacBook.
I'm trying to remember if I ever had a MacBook or just MacBook Pros now. I remember having a PowerBook, and I also remember before that having, I don't know if you guys remember, I had an iBook, if you guys remember those. That was the laptop model that followed the iMac, and it looked like a big clamshell with colors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had, God, I don't remember what color I had. I want to say mine was like a green, a limeish green color or something like that.
Pretty.
They called that the toilet seat.
All right. So I just saw this interesting news story. The worst browsers for privacy. The iGaming company Digitane, which I'd never heard of, looked at the risks various browsers expose users to. And while Chrome isn't the worst browser out there, because to me, Chrome is like radiation. I don't want to go anywhere near it. Um, and while it's not the worst browser out there, the one thing they mention is that 72% of the market share means that it puts more people at risk because so many people use Chrome. Like I said, I avoid Chrome like the plague. So here's Digitane's list of various browsers when it comes to user privacy, along with the risk scores. The lower score is the better the browser in terms of your privacy. I have no idea how they came up with these risk scores. It didn't say in the article. You will see that ChatGPT Atlas is at 99, which is pretty much saying you have no privacy using that. And it kind of makes sense to me because, when you're using these AI browsers, these AI bots or whatever are constantly digging for data. So that makes sense. I've never trusted Google Chrome. I think it's awful, awful in the way it operates and awful in the way that it, like I said, your privacy is definitely not important to them. And you can see if you go down the list there, you see Apple Safari at 49 and DuckDuckGo at 44, which I've used both of those. Those are the two browsers that I use. And a little more on that GPT Atlas. Atlas launched just this past fall, and they say here new AI-powered browsers like ChatGPT Atlas and Comet from Perplexity are getting a lot of attention right now, and millions of people are trying them out because of the AI hype. AI works by collecting and learning data, which means these tools might be gathering more of your personal information than you realize.
What is Tor?
Just because something uses AI doesn't automatically the AI stuff. Okay, speaking of privacy, I've seen multiple articles on this that privacy advocates are terrified by the new Apple Digital ID. Have you guys heard of the new Apple Digital ID?
Nope.
Okay. Well, Apple introduced this in recent months. Apple's new digital ID, I'll read here, is very convenient if you're traveling, but it's also easy for governments tracking its citizens' every move. Privacy advocates are concerned that the new Apple Digital ID is a phone-based system can be used to track everyone all the time. There's also worry that once people adopt digital identification cards, laws can easily make them mandatory. And so Apple rolled this out back in the fall. Is it safe? Who knows? I mean, I can see both sides of this argument. I went ahead and just because I wanted to try it out. I've now got it in my wallet, and it just sits there as my Apple Digital ID card. And that's exactly, I have a screenshot here of what it looks like. And so supposedly I can use this as official ID for a number of different things now. Supposedly you can use this at airports and things like that. I don't know. I haven't tried it, but I went and took the plunge and did this. I don't know if it's going to, cause the government to be watching me or what, but there's a lot of kind of controversy out there about this. So, I don't know, not telling you don't do it or whatever, just something to think about. All right. I don't know if any of you get car sick and have had problems with that, but there is a new iPhone feature that might be able to help you with getting car sick. So there are basically two reasons that motion sickness happens. And the first theory about why it happens is they call it the postural instability theory. And in the first theory, when humans lose control of their posture while in motion, like you're on a rocking boat or a roller coaster, we can't adapt and it causes us to get sick. The second theory is what we call sensory conflict theory. And this is more commonly used in medical research and cited. and it states that your motion sickness happens when the movement you see and perceive is different from what your inner ear is sensing and experiencing. So don't necessarily know which one is true, but if you've experienced that before, it's not a lot of fun. And some people get real sick with that stuff. Others just experience it for a second and then it's gone. But the conflict between what you see and feel causes this sensory conflict, and that can make you sick. And so the Cleveland Clinic recommends anyone feeling motion sickness while reading should put their book, phone, or tablet away and look at objects in the distance or the horizon to resolve the conflict. Well,
I've heard that.
There is now an iPhone feature that might help with this. And so your iPhone has the vehicle motion cues feature in it. So to do this, you got to go to settings, to accessibility. Now, by the way, Apple hides a lot of stuff in the accessibility settings. I've often thought maybe one day we'll just take it as a feature on one of our meetings and dig into there. But if you go to accessibility and scroll down till you get to the motion part of it, and you click on motion, in that second frame that I have here, you will see vehicle motion cues, and it'll be off. And you can go ahead and turn that on, or you can set it to automatically in vehicle. So alongside what you're reading at the same speed, objects on the same side of the road would, if you're looking out the window. So what you're going to see is when you turn that on, if you guys want to try that on your phone, I can kind of take you along with me here. Go do this. Turn on settings, go to settings, to accessibility to motion on your phone. And then click vehicle motion cues and turn it to on.
Settings to accessible.
And just go to when you get into vehicle motion cues, turn it on. I'll give you guys a second to do that.
Okay.
Now, have you guys done that? Do you see the dots on your screen?
Yeah.
Is anybody else with me, or am I going too fast?
No.
When you see the dots, move your phone around. Do the dots move?
Yeah, they sometimes create more dots.
Well, I've tried this in the car, and they will actually move with the car. And it's if you watch the dots while you're in the car, they say that this will help resolve that conflict between your eyes and your inner ear and help resolve your motion sickness. I don't get motion sickness, so I had it on in the car and I was kind of playing with it, but I don't know if it did anything for me or not, because I don't generally have that problem. So anyway, just next time you're in a car and you're not driving, I wouldn't try this while you're driving. Turn that feature on and just see if it makes you feel better. I don't know. So
you don't leave it on, right?
You don't need to leave it on. In fact, if you look in that little third pane I have there, you can just click it to automatically in a vehicle. And whenever you get in a vehicle, those dots will automatically come up on your screen. But if you are feeling starting to feel motion sick and you're like, riding in a car, you can just go into this and do that and just turn it on automatically. And
check out customize appearance.
What's that?
Check out customize appearance.
You want to tell us about it, Steve?
Here.
You can make them different
colors. On customize appearance.
Yeah.
The pattern is regular or dynamic. You can choose the color of the dots.
Yeah.
Make the dots larger, increase the number of dots. So you can tinker around with it, see what works for you.
Yeah. So supposedly these dots are just supposed to kind of like, if the car turns, they'll move in the way the turn's happening. And looking at these dots are supposed to, I think, help like your brain and your inner ear kind of watch these, and that helps you sort of resolve that conflict that you're feeling this motion and you're having a hard time figuring this out, and that's why you're starting to feel sick. So like I said, I don't really suffer from this problem, but if you do, it's something, try it when next time you're on a roller coaster, I don't try it out. So
Dramamine, huh?
yeah. And so, by the way, did you guys see 8 circles or 6 when you turned that on?
8.
I
8,
saw
okay.
8.
Okay. Because I saw 8 once. I tried another time and I was only seeing 6. And then I was like, whoop, I don't know what's up with that. So anyway, try
If
it
you
out.
tap on more dots, you get 10.
What's that?
If you tap on more dots, you get
Oh,
10.
it'll let you do more. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't play in I wasn't playing around with customizing and I wasn't really worried about that. But anyway, it's an interesting feature that honestly, has anybody ever heard of this before?
Nope.
No.
Yeah. It's like didn't even know this existed. It was one of those things. Sometimes I come across things in Apple systems and I'm like, huh, how about that? It's sometimes amazing all the things that we find in these systems that you have no idea exist.
I'll see if it works when I'm on the boat.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you know what? If anybody tries this out in the wild for real, report back and let us know if it helped.
Yeah.
So just this past November 10th marked the 5th anniversary of the Apple Silicon chip replacing Intel chips in Macs. Hard to believe it's been 5 years already. The M1, the first chip, was unveiled on November 10th, 2020. And the M1 debuted in the MacBook Air, Mac Mini, and the 13-inch MacBook Pro. And we've now had 5 total generations of Apple Silicon chips, and the M5 unveiled on the 14-inch MacBook Pro just this past October, this fall. And so how do the M1 and M5 compare? Well, some of you have heard me talk about this, and I know John and I have had conversation that like I'm using right now my 16-inch M1 Max MacBook Pro, and I love it, and this thing's 4 years old, going on 5 years, I guess, I don't know. And I really find no reason that I need to go upgrade and, get an M4 or M5, MacBook Pro. Now, if somebody said to me, oh, you can swap, I'll give you this, 16-inch, they don't have the M5 and the 16-inch MacBook Pro yet. But if they said, oh, we'll swap yours out to an M4, well, I'm sure I'd probably do it. But I have no real reason to go out and buy it because I think the performance, of the M1 Max chip in this computer is great. Now, like I said, if I put both of them side by side, I'm sure I would notice a little bit of a difference. But here are the numbers, by the way, just to compare. By comparison, M5 measures up to the M1 per Apple specs. So obviously the M5 chip is going to be faster. It's going to process stuff faster. And you can see here the Geekbench comparison scores. So, I mean, yeah, there's a significant upgrade from M1 to M5. And, really, the one thing is, I don't know when Apple came out with the M1 if they really had the whole AI stuff on their radar yet. But, I know that with the recent years' chips, it seems like they're really trying to boost the performance for, a lot of it for AI performance. So anyway, so a lot of little bunch of anniversaries here tonight. All right. I don't know if you guys noticed in the latest iOS, iOS 26, that if you pull up Safari, your toolbar has changed. And this was one of my minor annoyances with iOS 26. I didn't like the way the toolbar worked. Has anybody else found that to be the case for them?
I can say I did.
Okay. It was one of those things right away that I'm like, why did they, I don't like this because I felt with the current toolbar, you have to kind of click and then go in and there's extra steps to do everything. Like, so if I want to see all my pages, my Safari pages on my phone,
you had to press a dot, and then the book, then the multiple.
And then, yes. Whereas before,
it's not hard.
Yeah. On the left there, that picture, you see what the new one looks like. On the right was what the old one looked like. And on the right, you just had the little pages button right there. Like you said, Dave, it's not that it was like the end of the world or anything. It was just, there's an extra step. And I just found that annoying with a couple things that I had to go into the 3 dots and then I select stuff. I'm like, I just want to do it once. I don't, and they were trying to.
Yeah,
What's
3 dots
that,
are probably give you more choices though.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to streamline things. So anyway, if you like the old way of doing it, which I do, just simply go to settings and you scroll to the bottom to the apps, find Safari in the list of apps and tap on it. And once you
Settings,
get into
apps.
Safari, just go down there where it shows, find the tabs section. And instead of compact, which is the new version, just select bottom or top, depending on whether you like your toolbar at the bottom or the top. Since I've got a iPhone 15 Pro Max, that big size phone, I like it at the bottom. It's much easier to reach than having to go to the top. But if you select compact, it'll look like what it does on the left there.
Yeah.
If you select bottom or top, it's going to look like the right side, the old way, but it'll either be at the bottom or your top. So, whichever one you prefer, it's pretty easy to, to change that. And so I'm glad that iOS 26 at least allows me to do that. So now I don't have to be frustrated and kick the dog and yell at the kids and all
Yeah.
that stuff because I'm frustrated by Safari on my phone.
I'm going for it.
By the way, I see all of you looking down at your phones right now.
But apropos of the menu bar, there was an article in Tidbits this week about the increase in icons that have been used and how they found it confusing and multiply redundant.
Yeah.
I can't go into the details because I didn't pay much attention, but it is there. There is some pushback on making it easier and better when in fact all we've done is added more complexity. So
Well,
pass that on.
sometimes changes really do, make things easier, but sometimes I almost feel like we change sometimes just for the sake of saying we changed.
Well,
Like,
apropos of that, my wife and I hate our new 17 Pro phone.
yeah. Okay.
Sucks. You look at it and it does something you don't want it to do. I mean,
Okay.
it has a mind of its own and it is overly sensitive to everything and it takes you places you don't want to go.
Okay. Well, that would be frustrating.
So at least
Yeah.
I don't feel much badly about it.
Well,
Strongly, I mean.
I haven't tried the 17s. I will be waiting. I can tell you the one thing I don't want, and I don't understand why the world is excited about these. I'm not sure why anybody wants a flip phone. Didn't we do that back in the 1990s? I don't understand the whole like cry for being able to, close our phones and close our iPads. And, I don't really get that whole thing. All right. So in iOS 26, you can add calendar events just from a screenshot. And I have found this to be very helpful at times. So if you're running iOS 26 and you have an iPhone 15 Pro model or newer, because your iPhone has to be compatible with Apple Intelligence to be able to do this, you can then add stuff to your calendar app just via screenshot.
Boo.
You can take a screenshot of anything that contains event details, and visual intelligence will also recognize those, and you'll get a little add to calendar option in the bottom center of your screen. If you tap that, you'll see the detected event with an option to add it to your calendar. So, so here I was just in my Blues app and I took a screenshot of that. And so it had a game time and date there you can see on that left-hand picture. And so notice at the bottom, it had that little thing that said add to calendar. So when I clicked add to calendar, immediately it came up with, it created that event on that date. And then you could edit it to change whatever you wanted about it, or you can just, create the event. And once you do that, it's now in your, Apple Calendar. So that's pretty cool. It really simplifies things. And if you just, you could see a sign or something and just take a picture of that sign and you could, then be able to, add stuff to calendar and everything. So pretty handy. All right.
Yeah.
Anybody heard of this feature, Edge Light? Okay, nobody's heard of Edge Light. Well,
No.
this is another cool feature that I don't think people know about. And when Mac OS Tahoe 26.2 was released on December 12th, it includes a pretty cool new feature called Edge Light. And so what Edge Light is, it creates an on-screen light that illuminates your face with the light when you're on a video call and you're in a room without bright lighting. Uh, and so, by the way, for those, for John and Ron and Lyman, remember earlier before the meeting, I said, do you notice a difference when you're looking at my face? I was playing with that lighting, but I think I had too much light in my ambient light in my room. So according to Apple, Edge Light video effect uses the Mac display to illuminate your face like a virtual ring light when you're on a video call and you're in a low light room. Customizable light width and temperature give you control over how you're lit. Mouse awareness ensures the light recedes when you need to access content underneath. Although to me, playing with it, that's a little wonky. And the option to have the light turn on automatically in low light situations on Mac computers for those computers, it says Mac computers introduced in 2024 and later. I mean, the Edge Light works fine on mine, but I don't know if it will automatically turn on in low light situations. So I might need a newer computer to do that. I don't know. So let me show you this video, and it's going to show you all about it here.
Okay, so you're probably familiar with these ring lights, these special lights that a lot of creators and influencers are using to brighten up their face. Well, let me tell you that these could become obsolete with Apple's latest new feature integrated inside of FaceTime and all your other favorite video apps. Because yeah, now it's integrated on your Mac and it's truly amazing. I'm going to show you step by step how you can get it on your Mac, how it works, how you can enable it, how you can change some sliders and really use its full potential. I mean, check already how it's impacting the light on my face from my Mac using the integrated Edge Light. Right, guys, let me show you how you can get this too. Okay, so for many, I believe this is going to be one of their favorite new features, maybe especially creators or influencers or vloggers. So yeah, right now, this is one of the most hyped new features
Right
in
now.
macOS Tahoe, but it is in Tahoe 26.2. So let me show you my version right now. So if I go into settings, go to about, you can see I am running macOS Tahoe 26.2. This is the beta, but obviously when you're seeing this, 26.2 will be available to the public. We might be on a next version of macOS. But yeah, I am talking, of course, about the new Edge Light feature. Important to note that the Edge Light feature is not exclusive to FaceTime, but also works in other video apps that support the existing camera effects we're familiar with. These are the portrait mode, studio light, and center stage features. So probably a lot of the video apps do support this. So let me show you exactly what I mean. Sorry for this view, but it's important for me to do it like that. I will put on center stage so you will see me a little bit better. Right, so what you need to do when you open your video app, so this is FaceTime, you need to go to the top here to the FaceTime icon in the top menu bar, click on that. And then we have this new option here called Edge Light. So let's click on that. And as you can see, nothing is happening right now. But when I click the arrow, then we have this little drop down. And as you can see, it is toggled on automatically. So this means that in a more darker environment, the Edge Light will automatically toggle on. But right now it's not dark enough. But we can toggle this on manually by clicking on manually, and you can see all around the screen this awesome Edge Light, this glow, really dreamy kind of effect. And you have the possibility to change some sliders here. Obviously, you can change the intensity by hitting the brightness slider. And you can see you can make it a bigger or smaller. Yeah, this is the biggest we can get it. And what's really cool, I didn't expect this to come as well, is that you have the possibility to change the warmth. You can go full warmth, this really warm glow, and all the way to a more colder aesthetic. like that. Yeah, I'm really curious to know how this works in a dark environment. So that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to make it dark here and toggle on the edge light and put it on automatically. And we will see if it recognizes it automatically, yes or no. Hold on. Right, so obviously you're not seeing anything, but I made it extremely dark and just to see if the edge light toggles on automatically. Let's go to our FaceTime settings in the menu bar again, click on edge light and just see what's happening. And as you see it right there, it's automatically turning it on. It's pretty powerful, so let's tone it down a little bit, just like that. Let's also make it a bit warmer. And now you can see the effect, how it looks actually. Pretty surprised by this feature. Again, I think many people were actually be really happy. For this to work, you need a Mac with M1 or newer, and you need to be in one of the camera apps that support this, obviously. And again, it's required to run a macOS style 26.2. Well, yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the new Edge Light feature? Do you think it's an amazing?
Okay, so I thought he kind of demonstrated what it is. Did you guys find that up on your menu bar if you're using an M1 Mac or newer?
Yeah.
So find that your little green icon up there, and that has all your video settings. By the way, this will work in FaceTime, it'll work in Zoom, any of your video conferencing apps that can use these effects, you can use this in. And so, all you got to do is go down there and turn it on, and it's pretty simple. He explained it. So obviously, if you're in a bright room, you're not going to see much of the effect, but you could really see when he made his room dark, what a difference that made, on his face and everything. And so, I don't notice a big difference because the room I'm in is pretty well lit. But if you're in a room, that doesn't have a great deal of light, like Ron, I'm looking at your picture. Do you have the lights turned off behind you, or are they just kind of lower? Your room looks a little dark.
I turn on my edge light. It goes into my whole screen.
Yeah. So why don't you try here? Hold on a second.
Okay, so you're probably familiar with these
to do that.
lights.
I'm going to stop my share for a second, Ron. Why don't you just play with your edge light and see if we notice a difference in your room, because maybe it's a little darker than everybody else's room.
Well, that's turned off.
Okay.
That's turned on. You can't really see much difference.
No, I don't know. We're not.
Well lit, yeah.
Turn it up
for a light?
What's that, Alan?
I just wondered what he's using for a light, because something's lighting your face.
Oh yeah, I can turn those off.
Bye.
Now turn up the edge light like to its full effect. See if we notice a difference.
Okay, the edge light's off now.
Okay.
Can you see it? I don't know.
I saw a slight change in the color of the light on your face
A
there.
little bluer.
And you can change that like warmer or cooler, and you can change the intensity of it. So
Certainly well lit.
Not on your phone.
what's that, Dave?
I'm surprised that the same effect is the same software, that it can't do it on the phone.
Well, I think that's because a lot of people who do video conferencing are more likely to do it through, their Macs than the phone.
Okay.
The Mac's too old. I think it's a cool feature. Again, it's another feature that, I didn't really hear anything about, know much about it. And then I saw something about it and I'm like, oh, what's this? And, like I said, I think most of us are sitting in fairly well lit rooms. So when you're in a room that's lit very well, you're really not going to notice it as, the effect as much. So, all right. So moving on here.
Special lights that a lot of creators.
Okay. All right. Do any of you guys use Shazam on your phone?
Yes.
How many people know what that is?
Yeah.
Besides Steve and I.
Use it.
Okay. Okay. So
Usually
for
when
those
I'm
who
in a
don't know what it
restaurant and
is, it
then,
Sounds like a movie thing.
was created by an independent developer that Apple then bought Shazam. And if you have the app and you click on it, it'll listen to whatever music is playing and it'll identify the song and the artist and all that. And so it's really cool. It's really, when you're like, man, who plays that song? I can't remember. You click it. I even have it. You can put it in your control center. So when something comes on, I just swipe down and boom, there it is if I want to click on it. So if you use the app to identify the music playing around you, you'll be interested to know there's actually a Shazam website as well. It's www.shazam.com. And you can see what the website looks like here. And so it allows you to do a number of things. First of all, just like in the app, you can identify songs through the website.
Music
it'll-
recognition?
Sorry, what's that?
I had a question. We're noticing that we get two Shazam icons on our Apple Watch because we downloaded the Shazam app to our iPhone, and then there seems to be an extra Shazam symbol, and we're wondering about that.
Well, I mean, typically you're syncing, you're doing do you do your watch settings through your watch or do you do it through your iPhone watch app?
Mostly through the iPhone Watch app.
And so you're actually seeing two Shazam icons on your watch?
Yes. And one of them is called music recognition.
That's interesting. I'm looking at my watch right now just to see if I find the same thing.
It seems to me I heard at some point that Apple bought out Shazam, and
They
I'm wondering
did.
if this relates to that.
Well, they bought them out, but yeah, I don't have. That's really odd that you're seeing two of them. I don't know I mean,
I see music recognition on my watch.
yeah.
I
And then
never
there's
put it on
one
there.
called Shazam.
I don't know.
Your watch, huh?
Now I'm putting mine into list view to go back and look at it again.
Yes.
I always keep mine in icon view. Yeah, okay.
I don't have Shazam. I just got the music recognition.
You know what? I do have both of them. This is interesting. So hold on. Now I'm going to click on one. Okay.
One of us did not install Shazam on the phone, and we have one Shazam icon on the watch. The other of us has a watch that's got two Shazam icons, and that was her, and she installed the Shazam app on her phone.
That's what I was just guessing as I was going down to try both of them. I'm guessing that yeah, and see when I open just the Shazam one, it says Shazam has a new home. See all your history, richer song details, and more with the new Shazam music recognition app. And when you open it, it takes you to the Apple Music Recognition app. So my guess is why we have duplicates is that I, like you, had downloaded the app on my phone before Apple bought it. And so I'm guessing that's why there's the duplicate. Does that make sense, Terry?
Oh, so you're saying that we should no longer install Shazam as a separate app from the App Store, even if we had bought it in the past?
I believe that it's now a part of the system, Apple system. And so I think we've got duplicates and I'm not going to do it right now, but after I might test that out as well, just deleting the Shazam app and see what happens if I still find it in my system. If I don't, I'll re-download it, but that would be my guess is why we're seeing the duplicate. I never noticed that before, by the way. Thank you for
It
pointing
seems like
that out.
I don't have Shazam at all on the phone, and I have it one time on the watch. So if I'm not going to use a downloaded Shazam, where am I supposed to see my list of Shazams on my phone?
You know what? I've got my Shazam app in my control center. So maybe try turning that on in your control center on your phone. Go into settings to control center and put that app in there. And then I think you'll be able to find it from there. That would be my guess, but this is one of those things I'm going to have to play with, try deleting the app and see what happens. So I'll have to do some.
Oh, there is a Shazam icon under my control center if I'm gonna go customize it.
Yeah. And I'm guessing that's how you would do it, because that's probably pulling that from the system versus the old Shazam app that,
Oh, it's trying to recognize the song, not showing me a list.
well, yeah, but once it recognizes it, then you'll be able to go in and probably pull up your list. So obviously it's not going to recognize anything right now, but
Right.
I'll tell you, I'm getting a lot of homework tonight. Now I've got this, I've got
How do
John.
you do your song list? I don't want to recognize the song now. I just want to view my song list on the
Well, my
device.
guess is, and I have to do this if I pull it up and I'm trying to stop it. That is a good question, because I don't know. Again, I'll have to play with this more, because if I do it through the app, it's already there. Where I can look at, all the songs that I have done and everything in there. So I'll have to play with that. I'll have to look into that more and play with that. But so now I'm gaining homework here from between you guys and John, all your stuff. I'm going to have stuff to play around with and maybe report back to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, real quick, on the Shazam website, you can on the website to identify songs, you can look up concerts by artist. You can also look up the top identified songs in the US. So it will tell you what are the songs that people are trying to identify, and it has lists of like the top songs. And you can also see what tracks are being played most on the radio and emerging artists. So it's got a bunch of stuff on this website to kind of go along with the app that we know. And I'm mentioning here that you don't now have to download the Shazam app, as it comes as part of the iOS system. But what I need to find out now is, if you get rid of the regular app, how do you find all that information on there that you had before? So I will try to work on that, and I'll try to report back to you guys next month on that. I'm gonna have to start making notes of all my homework. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to come and tell you the dog ate my homework next month. All right. So we have this power bank. It's kind of an odd named company, Cucktech. And so they make this power bank, and it's kind of interesting because it offers both wireless charging and fast wired charging. And so it's just a little bit of a different product here. And you can see it's a magnetic power bank. So you can like take it, and anything that will, work on the, you can put it on the back of your phone and it will charge that way. You can charge through magnetic power for wireless charging, or it's got, if you look at the bottom, the little loop on there, it basically is a built-in USB-C cable for 20-watt charging. And so it's the wireless charging, by the way, you can see there, it's limited to 7.5 watts. So it is a little bit slow, but interesting little thing. I mean, it's only $21.99, and you can see that's from Amazon that it gets 4.4 stars out of 5. So cool.
My question about that would be, unheard of brand name. How safe is the lithium battery? I think I'll go look for an Anchor or some well-known brand.
You know what? And I'm with you on that, Terry. In fact, I'm going to talk later about an Anchor power bank, but so I am with you, but generally what I try to do is I try to look at, customer reviews and comments and things, and see what experiences people have with them. But yeah, it's kind of like cables. If you stick with a well-known brand, you can probably feel safer with it. Although typically you will also pay more. So that's the downside. All right. We have any Harry Potter fans here?
No.
No Harry Potter fans?
Oh, John said yes.
Okay. Well, we got one. Okay. Well, John, you'll appreciate this. The rest of you can, yawn and not listen to me if you want, but it's kind of cool. So This feature is Harry Potter spells for the S Lady. And by the way, I am saying the S Lady so I don't mess everybody up. That will turn your iPhone into a magical wand. And if you would like to follow along with any of these things, please mute yourself so that you're not saying this stuff out loud. So you can, if you're a Harry Potter fan, and John, you'll be the only one that appreciates this wording. You can now use your iPhone like you're a muggle-born witch or wizard with a magical elder wand. The rest of you are going, I don't even know what any of that means. But so there are commands you can use with the S Lady to make things happen on your iPhone. So if you would like to try this with me, get your wand or iPhone ready. And like I said, make sure that your microphone is muted so that you're not talking out loud to all of us. Okay, so the first command is called Lumos. And this command will turn on your flashlight. So basically, all you have to do is say, hey, S Lady Lumos, and it will literally turn on your light. Give it a try, guys, but mute yourself first. I'll give you guys a moment to try it. Report back and let me know if it worked. John, I see yours is on. Did you use it? All right. Yeah. So they have put these spells from the Harry Potter movies in there that you can use with the S Lady. So they're kind of fun. And you know, my family, we've read a lot of the Harry Potter books and watched the movies, and my son's a big fan. So he really enjoyed all of this. All right. So the next command is Knox. And this will turn off your flashlight. So those of you who turned it on, you can now also turn it off. Lumos and Knox are the two commands that will turn it on and off. I'll let you all play with that for a second before I come back around. Okay, the next one.
That even worked without having the latest operating system. I have 18, and it still worked.
These actually go back a little ways, Alan. The next one is Accio. So those C's are like a hard CK sound, Accio. And this will summon an app. And so you can see the command down there. Hey, S Lady-O, Accio, and then say the app name. So it would be like S Lady, Accio, Shazam. Let you guys try that and tell me if it works. John, it worked for John. Okay. By the way, you know, this is fun and it's easy, but you got to remember the command names. If you don't remember the command names, then it's like, well, I don't remember this stuff. What a pain in the butt. It's kind of like remembering the keyboard commands you need for stuff. If you don't use them, you don't remember those ever. Now, I'm going to show you some more of these, but the next ones to use these, you first have to set up a shortcut on your phone. And so there's a link to a page that I'm going to go through and give you some of these. And I give you the link to this actual website that has these. And what I've done is I go through, I give you a link that you can actually see, and just go to this page. You'll have the link for the shortcut. You download the shortcut and add it, so you don't have to build the shortcut yourself. So the first one is Lumos Maxima, and this will turn on your flashlight at maximum brightness. So again, you can see I'm putting the shortcut link to this stuff, and I'll have this PDF up that you guys, after the meeting, you can see it. That shortcut link is basically, if you click on that, it'll download the shortcut, and then you can install it. And then once you have the shortcut installed, then this will work. The next one is Silencio. And I guess you guys can imagine what that would do. It would put your phone into silent mode. And then we have Muffliato. And so in the movie, Muffliato with the wand, the spell, it fills the ears of those nearby with an unidentifiable buzzing sound so they can't overhear conversations. Well, what this shortcut does is it turns down the volume to a lower level and activates background sounds to muffle conversation. So if you're worried somebody may be listening in, overhearing you, you can use Muffliato, and that'll put on background sounds to muffle your conversation.
Wow.
Then we have Sonorous, and this will set your volume to a higher percentage. Quietus will set your volume to a lower percentage. Point Me, and that will open the Compass app for you. And Vermilius will share your location with your contacts without contacting emergency services. So it'll just share your location. It won't contact emergency services and trigger all that. So again, if you go back here to this page at the top, this page is where I pulled all these from. And you can, if you want to have fun with this, you can just go to that page. So I'll have it on the PDF I always share with Ron after the meeting, or if you want to take a screenshot or something of it there, you can do that. And then if you want to play with this stuff, it's kind of fun. So, and by the way, these Harry Potter spells, I wasn't aware of them, but they've actually been around for a number of years. So it's not something that is real new, but I thought it was kind of fun. If we had more Harry Potter fans here, I think you guys would be more excited.
Well, we're aware of it.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
is
I'd
more
go
like
more.
Operating System used to have hidden gems or things like that. And this is
Yeah. So
unusual that they would build this in without telling you.
Yeah. Homonym Revelio, that'll open the Find My app and you select a specific person to locate. Reducio, that reduces the text size displayed on your screen. And Engorgio will increase the text size on your screen and return it to its normal size by using Reducio. And then we have Aloha Mara, and that opens the Passwords app. By the way, somebody can't just use that and open your app. It has to still go through the identification process. And I've got a few more, but you guys can, I'm not going to, So it's got all this stuff. And again, if you go to that website, changing wallpaper, shutting down your iPhone, open Apple Music and have it play a specific song. So you can set up any of these things. And if remember what to say, it'll do all this stuff for you. All right. I want to do another follow-up. So we're no longer on Harry Potter here. You guys remember when I talked about the Lego iMac G3 a few months ago? Anybody remember that? So a guy came up with a design and shared this. And I discussed it a few months ago, and I was saying, oh, well, it had to get 10,000 votes for Lego to consider it. Well, it got the required 10,000 votes. And so, quoting here, the Lego Review Board is deciding if this could become an official Lego ideas set, the company says. Lego evaluates the building quality and playability and how well it fits being a Lego product. Demand and profits are also considered. And there are licensing and intellectual property considerations, and Apple has to approve of the design before it can become a Lego product. So if Apple says, yeah, we don't like that, then they can't do it. Many projects, by the way, don't move forward, even though they've gotten the required 10,000 votes. Lego still has to approve the concept, and then they've got to get their design team to rework it into a production ready set, because there may be things that just aren't going to work. And after the set design is finalized, they then have to manufacture and package the whole design. And ideas for Lego sets typically will reach stores like 6 to 12 months after approval. So this G3 iMac, it got the 10,000 votes, but nothing's been approved yet. It's kind of just moved to the next stage. So who knows? One day maybe it will become a Lego set. All right. And there you have it.
If it does, I want one.
Yeah. And it'll probably cost $300.
Well, it doesn't do anything. It just sits there, right?
Sure, but it's like most Lego sets. They don't necessarily do anything, they just sit there. But it's crazy how expensive Lego sets are. Like, John, they came out with a really cool new Death Star Lego set, and it's this big Death Star, but the thing costs $1,000.
Yeah, we've seen them in the Lego store in the mall. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
crazy how much those things cost.
it's totally
This
crazy.
thing, this Lego iMac, if it does end up costing $300, it's probably because Apple charged them a fee, a licensing fee of 200
Could be. Yeah,
to use
could be.
to use them, especially that screen showing Mac OS. Boy, I don't know if they're going to go for that or not.
Yeah, well, that may not be on there, but who knows what a final product would look like. So, all right. So there you have it. And I will um I'm making notes to follow up on the whole Shazam thing.
Yeah, do your
And
homework, Glenn.
yep, my GAMUG, I'm making a note right now, my GAMUG homework, uh my Shazam app, and for the podcast app to see what happens after pausing to video. So I'll try to report back on that stuff to you guys next month. And John, obviously, if I find something, John, whatever I find out, I'll let you know.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to start with a 10-minute video, which is from the CES, Consumer Electronics Show. And usually Apple doesn't, well, it doesn't actually partake, but there's lots of Apple accessories that'll actually be in that show. So that's what this video shows. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okie doke.
CES 2026 is coming to a close here, and I wanted to share with you some of the best Apple-related accessories that I saw at the event so far. And before we get into all of that, be sure to check out my previous CES videos here in our CES playlist, and of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more coverage of not only CES, but of course, all of the new Apple products and news that will be dropping throughout 2026. So let's start with the brand new Clicks Power Keyboard. This is a really smart evolution of what the company's kind of been doing, as it gives you a full physical keyboard that pairs over Bluetooth, but the big upgrade here is that it also is a power accessory. It magnetically attaches, supports wireless charging, and basically turns your phone into a mini productivity setup without feeling too bulky. If you miss real keys, you have that BlackBerry syndrome, and you want something that actually adds utility instead of just nostalgia, this one just makes a lot of sense. And it's not just for your phone, but you can also pair it with an iPad, Apple Vision Pro, or even an Apple TV. And I really love the idea of using this around the house and then switching over to another device like the Apple TV for easy input while browsing content. If you're tired of waiting for Apple to make a touchscreen MacBook, then you might want to check out the Magic Screen from startup Intricate. The Magic Screen is a snap-on digitizer that aligns to your MacBook's display using the built-in magnets that let your Mac know when the lid is closed to trigger sleep mode. After connecting it via a single USB-C cable, the tempered glass layer supports the typical range of gestures that we've come to associate with smartphones. So tapping, swiping, and zooming with your fingers directly on the screen. And in a nod to the iPad and the Apple Pencil, the Magic Screen also comes with its own stylus that supports pressure sensitivity and stylus hover for drawing, writing, and manipulating objects, as well as navigation. The latency is very minimal, if anything at all, especially with the stylus, as you can see here. And it also supports iPhone mirroring, allowing you to interact with iOS apps on your MacBook display with your fingers. So it just becomes a lot more natural. Before we get into the rest of this video, I do want to let you know that this video is sponsored by Habata and their new E3 Pro ergonomic chair, which is what I'm currently sitting on. And it's a perfect upgrade for anyone who spends long hours at their desk, whether it's just doing your normal work or doing long hours of editing like I am. It is a fantastic chair. So you know that lower backache that you get after sitting all day? Well, Habata might have actually fixed that for me, because Habata is the first brand in the world to apply AI technology to ergonomic chairs. And with that technology, was able to create an iconic ergonomic chair in the E3 Pro. The E3 Pro solves that with the world's first floating wing lumbar support, wrapping around your waist and keeping you comfortable no matter how you sit. It's fully adjustable from the 4D headrest that moves with your neck, to 60 armrests that fit any desk setup, even a retractable footrest if you just want to kick back between sessions, which is honestly one of my favorite things about this chair. And that's what makes this iconic, and it has been a top seller for 3 years in Germany, France, Spain, the UK, the US, Japan, and China. It's also built with breathable mesh so you don't overheat, and honestly feels like a mix between a premium like gaming chair or work environment like a Herman Miller, which I have quite a few chairs from that brand, and I immediately rolled it off into the sunset because the Habata felt just as good to sit in and looks premium, and you don't have to spend $1,500 or more. Right now, Habata is offering free shipping, a 3-year warranty, and 30-day returns. So if you're serious about your setup or you just want your back to thank you later, check out the Habata E3 Pro using the link in the description down below. This is the Watchitude Tagged 2, and it's a watch that fits an Apple AirTag on the bottom so that it can be used to easily track the person that's wearing it. And obviously, if you can't tell by the looks, it's mostly targeted for parents who want to use this for their children. I genuinely want something like this for my kids who are going to school because I think they're still way too young for a smartwatch, and this is a great blend of being able to ensure that they have arrived safely while at school and give them something that isn't a supercomputer strapped to their wrists. It just tells the time, which is all they need, and I can see where they're at, making sure that they are safe throughout their school day. Now, this product from LG is technically not new for 2026 as it came out towards the back end of 25, but it's the first time that I've seen it in person, and they're still pushing it for 2026. And that's the 32-inch ultrafine Evo 6K monitor. And if you're looking at it and wondering how well is it going to work with the Mac, well, I feel like it's made specifically for Mac users in mind. You get a massive 6K resolution that scales perfectly with Mac OS. Text looks insanely sharp, and you've got tons of room for editing timelines, photographs, code, multitask, whatever it is that you might be doing on your Mac. The Nano IPS black panel delivers deeper blacks and great contrast compared to traditional IPS, which is huge for all that creative work that I typically do and what you might be doing as well. And it has Thunderbolt 5, which is neat because I have yet to see that on a monitor. The MCON controller that I checked out last year and was a huge hit is finally shipping this year, and it looks fantastic. This compact gaming controller literally snaps to the back of your phone and turns it into a handheld gaming rig. Uses MagSafe and Bluetooth to pair with phones, tablets, and even PCs, and it hides console-style sticks, triggers, and buttons under a sleek slider that pops out when you're ready to play. It also has fold-out ergonomic grips, Hall effect analog controls for precision, built-in gyro motion support, and even kickback mode that lets you prop the phone up for tabletop gaming. There were also a few prototypes from this year that are launching to make controllers fit perfectly to your device and make things a little bit more slim. So the iPhone 17 Pro here has a somewhat slimmer profile than some of the other phones out there, and in efforts to keep things more, slim and less bulky in your pocket, MCON is looking to deliver a good gaming experience like the original model here, but also to keep that a thinner profile in your pocket. So looking forward to seeing these out in the wild, hopefully soon. Aukey has a few new chargers for 2026, but there are a couple that really caught my eye, and number one was the Mag Fusion Arc. The Mag Fusion Arc can charge an iPhone at up to 25 watts, matching the speed of Apple's MagSafe 2 chargers when paired with an iPhone that supports Qi 2.2. And the Mag Fusion Arc has a 6-in-1 design that includes a base that can charge up to 3 phones, and then 3 detachable power bank spheres for a total of 6 charging points. All 6 of the charging spots support Qi 2.2 speeds, and it's an ideal charger for multi-person households. And there was also the Aukey Mag Fusion Desk Hive 5X Pro, which is a really slick all-in-one design for your desk that charges up to 5 devices at once, including fast laptop charging and Qi 2.2 magnetic wireless charging for your phone. With built-in retractable USB-C cables and a clean, compact design, this is a desk accessory that I need on my desk, like right now. Speaking of things I want on my desk right now, Satechi has a new accessory that looks like it's the perfect pair for a certain Apple computer that might be in identical shape and size. And so this is the new Cube dock, and it can really offer you a lot. This dock is powered by Thunderbolt 5, so it's a big step up in speed and capability compared to older docks. It can easily handle multiple high-resolution displays and just works right away with a true plug-and-play setup. There's no extra software needed. And you can add a bunch of built-in SSD storage via the NVMe slot here on the bottom. I believe it's up to 8 terabytes, so you can work directly off of the dock without plugging in any extra drives. It stays quiet even when you're pushing it, and it can fully charge your laptop while still powering all your other accessories because there's a bunch of USB-C ports on the back, and it makes it a really clean all-in-one desk solution. Also, there's a few new wireless keyboard and mouse options for your Mac or Windows PC, but it's more Mac-centric out of the box, which is great for me and looks sleek and minimal for another good addition to your desk setup. 12 South also announced a new Valet tray with Qi 2 certified wireless charging that combines 15-watt magnetic charging with a leather-lined catch-all for everyday items. And those items include anything from, well, your keys, your watch, your wallet, anything. The Valet features Qi 2 wireless charging, delivering up to 15 watts of power to compatible iPhone models and other Qi 2 devices. And it also includes a USB-C port capable of supplying up to 15 watts to power a second device. And that is concealed beneath the bottom of the tray in order to reduce any visible cables. The Valet, again, is also powered by USB-C, so let's USB-C everything. And also, from Anker, there's this new smart display nano charger that as soon as you plug in your device, it will instantly recognize what phone you have plugged in and then shows the charge level, power flow, and temperature of that connected device. So here we plugged in an iPhone 15 Pro Max, and of course, it'll recognize and supply the device with the correct power and efficiency to get it topped off quickly. Belkin has a few new charging accessories for your iPads, tablets, and even the Nintendo Switch 2, which is not an Apple-related accessory, but still pretty cool to check out. That charging case, and the lineup includes new Qi 2 and Qi 2.2 wireless chargers, magnetic power banks, and a high-capacity laptop battery and USB-C productivity accessories, with an emphasis, of course, on higher charging speeds, modular designs, and broader device compatibility. And speaking of Qi 2.2 chargers, ESR has its new 10,000 milliamp hour MagSafe power bank, and it is apparently the thinnest 2.2 25-watt power bank out on the market so far, measuring in at 13.8 millimeters thick. It is also able to charge the iPhone 17 models at up to 25 watts, just like MagSafe. So, those are the best Apple-related accessories that I saw so far this year at CES 2026. Of course, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below on which one was your favorite. Be sure to check out the rest of our CES 2026 playlist and coverage. And yeah, let me know your favorites in the comments down below. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you around in the next video.
That's really nice.
Yeah, lots of interesting stuff, and that's from CES, which is just last week, I guess.
Yeah, just happened.
The rest of our program is any of our members have something to share. And John, I know you have something. John?
Yes, I'm trying to share my screen now. Okay, are you guys able to see this?
Yes.
Okay. I have, I don't know if I made the type on here a little bit too small to read, but basically just to summarize, because we don't have a whole lot of time left. I picked up 2 accessories to go with an iPad. I had a iPad Mini 6 that I had had for some time and just hadn't found a good use for it. I found a thing just a little bit too small. So I traded it in on a 11-inch M3 iPad Air. And when I did that, I was looking around for some peripherals, accessories to go with it. The first one is as I say, it's an aluminum stand from Satechi, and it looks like this. This is just screenshots from their website. Okay. Here it's shown from various angles. I've got some of the verbiage that they use on their website describing the thing, including the dimensions. And you can plug in various devices. You can use it as a stand. You can also use it as a port to plug in external devices where needed. And I've got another picture of this thing here. You can see here that it comes with this USB-C port that connects to the side of an iMac. Now I've got a picture here showing this is my actual device, It's showing it with a ruler next to it. You can see it's a little bit over 5 inches in length. And here it is plugged in to the iPad. And this right here is that USB-C port that's plugged in. That gives you the ability to charge the iPad, by the way, through the device that's on the back. So it's pass-through charging. The other item that I've got is I was looking for a case that could allow me to use the iPad with a keyboard. Now, the Apple Magic Keyboard is quite highly regarded. It's an excellent quality keyboard. It's got an excellent quality typing experience and a first-rate trackpad, but it is pricey. And when you're using the thing, there's two disadvantages. One is that when you're using the thing, you can only have the iPad in landscape mode. There's no way to have the iPad in portrait mode or more vertical if you like. And the other one is that it doesn't provide any kind of side protection to the iPad. This device provides both of that because what it actually consists of, and you can see it on here, it's the ability to put the iPad in its own separate case that comes with it. And then when you've got it on the support, you can have it at various angles, and you can have the iPad, as I say, either in portrait mode or in landscape. Okay, now here's a picture of it in landscape mode, and then these connections down here, this piece here will rotate, allowing you to control the degree or the angle that you have it displayed on. You can have it displayed low down so that you can use it, say, for a pencil, or you can have it displayed on a steeper angle, like for viewing or whatever else you might need to do. Here's a picture of the thing. Now, this is the case with the iPad in it. Here is just open so that you can see the iPad over here and then the case. Here it is with the iPad in landscape mode. And as you can see, there's a little slot up here that supports an Apple Pencil. So that you can keep your pencil with the iPad and keep it charged. Here is the thing in with the iPad. Notices it's in portrait, or yes, in portrait mode, and it also will magnetically attach. I forgot to say it magnetically attaches to the case. Here it is with the thing up high, so that if you need to have the iPad at a higher distance, a greater distance away from your desktop, you can do that. Or you can just have it. And then here's a picture of the case itself that that surrounds the iPad and protects it. Now I've got this right now. This is in a Pages document that I've gone through this, and I don't think I've got any typos or anything on here. So as soon as the meeting is over, I'll convert this to a PDF, send it to Ron so that he can post it on the website. If there's any other questions right now, I'll entertain them. If not, I'll just stop sharing right now.
Cool, John.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I have something I'd like to share.
Okay.
Wanted to tell the group about an app called Text Snipper on the Mac App Store. Have you ever wished that you see something on your screen? Have you ever wished you could copy it as text to your clipboard without having to retype it when it was showing as a graphic? Well, Text Snipper will help you do that with anything that's appearing as an image, whether somebody's made text difficult to select on a web page, or whether the text is rendered as pixels in image. It will literally OCR a rectangular area on your screen that you drag out. Text Snipper is around $10 on the Mac App Store, and I'm going to put information in the chat for anybody who wants to follow up on it.
Cool. I just pulled that up on the App Store here. Looks interesting.
Thanks, Terry.
And I think Tammy has something to share too.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes when you save a picture from a website, you'll find it as a .webp file or a WebP file.
Yeah.
And sometimes these don't really open up in as many graphic programs as a JPEG will. So there's a program called like any WebP. It seems like it's called WebP Converter when you stick it in your dock. It's just basically a droplet. You drag the .webp that you downloaded onto the program, and you can save it as a .jpeg. Now, if you want to do more than 10 at the same time, then I think they charge a fee for it. But for free, like if you have this single image and you need it as a JPEG instead of .webp, you can just drop it on the WebP converter.
Okay. So is this a website or is it an app?
It's an app.
Okay.
You can get it from the Apple App Store on your Mac.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, because you know what? I've run into that quite a number of times, that WEBP, when you try to download an image, and I'm like, what the heck am I getting here? And you're right, you can't open that as an image. So thanks for that share. That'll come in handy.
Okay, anybody else have something to share?
Dave, did you have something? You raised your hand earlier. You're muted,
You're
Dave.
muted, Dave. Stop.
I have something if he's delayed there.
Dave, you hold on. Dave, you look like you're talking. Wait, there you go.
Now he's
Okay.
Okay, I have a longer one and a shorter one. Let me do the shorter one.
Okay.
Does everybody know how a three-way switch works?
Sure.
Yeah.
Basically, I'll try to hold this up to the pattern. You have an AC power, and it goes into a box, your switch, and it produces a hot either to a red or a blue wire. At the other end, it takes the red or blue wire and goes to your common on that side and goes to load. Well, my niece bought me one of these smart switches to replace a three-way, and they convert the wiring through the diagram into basically a two-way with a remote control, standard one. So it was a little confusing. I got Alan to come over to my house, and he diagnosed, and just a little uncomfortable starting short wires together. But just want to say that those the device that I got was this, which is Cassetta by Lutron. They're pretty simple.
the cassette part is the wireless control, so you can control it from Apple Home, right?
And you can control it through Apple Home. I've already got mine set up, but we were hesitant to do it right, and it seemed a little goofy. They wanted you to use the blue and the white tied together to the hot wire, send it to the other station, and get rid of the switch and tie that to your load. It was
I
like
think you're still on the
there was
wrong.
no neutrals. There was no neutrals involved. It's like, are we sure we're doing this right? So it turned out I had went ahead and did it in about 15 minutes this afternoon after Al and I looked at it for an hour. But it's pretty much doable. You use that and a little surface mounted switch that you can press and hold buttons on both the remote and on the device,
And sync the two together, right?
and you can sync the two together. It went by pretty easily. Long story made short. But it seems really weird when you're putting 110 on two wires that were normally a choice of two.
But it all worked, right, Dave?
It did, but it was just like it was.
It didn't make sense, right?
I'm not sure what she paid for this device, but I thought I've got an old remote that I bought 2 or 3 years ago that was with another one that I didn't want a remote on, and that little thing, the little Pico, they call it a Pico switch, still function and still linked, and everything's back working. So pretty successful.
Well, David's been automating his house since X10 switches were available on the Apple II, I think.
Yeah, way before home was a network. Anyway, the other thing I had was pretty long involved, so I'll maybe save it for a different meeting. Are we ready to go, or do you want it, Ron?
No, whoever's gonna go.
Go on, Fran.
I have one, a quickie here, I think. It's a piece of hardware, if you can see it. It's what I'd call a solid state thumb drive on steroids. Perhaps you've seen them. I get it from OWC, Other World Computing. Um, I do a lot of photography and I shoot a lot of uh, large files coming out of my camera, 35, 40 megabytes. And sometimes if I'm shooting soccer, I'll have a couple thousand images. It adds up to a lot of gigabytes of storage that I like to transfer. And this little drive is really pretty fascinating in that it has the C connection on that end. And then if you open it up here, you can get the A connection on the other end. So it's really well made. It's machined, feels very quality. Um, this is a terabyte.
Terabyte.
They make it in 500 gigabytes, a terabyte, and 2 terabytes. And it's the downside is it's expensive. But you know, we're in the Apple community, so we're used to that, right? The 500 gigabyte is 139 bucks.
Wow.
And the terabyte is 250. Now I got it, I think, on the Friday, Black Friday, and I think they knocked, I forget whether it's 50 or 100 bucks off. But I'll tell you what, at a gigabyte per second, uh, if you ever transferred a lot of large files to a thumb drive, you just go nuts. It's terrible. This thing is really fast and furious. They give you a strap with it and a little connector, so forth and so on, and a 3-year warranty. Anyway, it's if you like small and portable and fast, solid state, it's hard to beat, I think. So,
How fast is it? How
pardon?
fast is it? How fast is it?
Gigabyte per second, basically. So if I had a couple of hundred gigabytes or more, it'd be, you know, in 3 or 4 minutes, it'd be able to transfer that information. I do have one other little thing that I use as a photographer that I like that I also got from OWC, and it's this is a card reader. It's for CF Express type B cards or SD cards, if you know what those are. The difference, the finer cameras use CFX Express. It's a bigger, heavier duty card. But what I like about this one is the cord is always there and folds into the back side of it. And so you're always, if you have this with you, you don't have to fumble around looking for cords. I really like it a lot and I use it a lot.
Is that a memory device? Is that what it is?
Oh, it's strictly a card reader for camera cards to transfer from the camera card to your computer.
Okay.
Cool.
So, yeah, I really like it a lot if you're into camera gear. That thing is, they make it in different versions, anywhere from about 40 to 80 bucks. So it's not cheap either, but I don't know. Once I get a device I really like a lot, I forget what it costs, you know.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Try to look back on that. But one last little thing, if we got time, that I only got my laptop a year ago, and I had been away from laptops for 10 years, mostly doing everything on a desktop. And this new M4 has, I guess they've had this for a while. You guys would know the power button with the fingerprint
Yeah.
entry.
Yeah.
And so it is so slick because, you know, to boot up or to turn on, you just really just need your fingerprint. And what I've seen lately is on websites like credit cards and financial institutions and so forth, more and more of them are allowing that fingerprint instead of the user. Well, it takes care of the username and the password
Yeah.
in a
That's
couple
great.
of clicks. And I mean, once you get used to that, you don't
That's
have to
because
remember the password or anything else. It's really when you get a newer laptop, I guess you'll see what I'm talking about if you haven't had this feature, but it's really slick.
You know, I've been using that for a number of years and love it.
That's
That's
because
all
your
I got.
computer is memorizing your passwords, right? because you have a different
Camera,
password.
it knows it's you because it's your fingerprint.
Right, I know, but your computer is interfacing with their website so that you don't have to remember each website's password.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I almost get annoyed now when I can't do that, and I can't just put my finger down. I actually have to.
Yeah, I hear that, Glenn.
But what if you have a website that won't let you copy and paste a password? They insist that you type it out. Oh,
Yeah.
Well, you
And
just
they have
type it
to
out.
have you confirm it too. So you
yeah,
type
then you
it
have to do it
twice.
again. And sometimes if you use
Good
those,
thing.
16 or longer characters with,
Yeah, I know.
and you can't
Idiotic.
memorize.
I've
Well,
got something I'll share if
you've shared enough. Just a minute. I have this is something real simple. It's a card that fits in your wallet. It's a tracker, just like Apple could make, but they didn't. And it's only this one works. I actually bought something like this for David down here for Christmas, and it didn't work. He
he's
he
giving it
said he
the
wanted something, so I just bought whatever he'd linked on his Amazon account, and it didn't work. So we returned that one. This is one I've had for 3 years. And you can't even tell how to charge it. It's got a little button on it that you start it, and it just tells you where your wallet is. And it's thicker than it costs about $15 a piece, $30 for two or something.
What brand is that?
It's Chinese. FADBDHA. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can share this. Oh, maybe I can. Let's see. Share. Yeah. No, that isn't it.
It's a loudspeaker.
I got it on mine.
All right. Let's try this again. Stop the share.
See mine?
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Now, what do you see?
FADEHA.
Badaha. Fragile.
Yeah, I said I don't know that the brand is that important, but this one seems to work, and I would give it a good review. And I've
Cool.
had it for 3 years, and they have a. David was
It
having
just
trouble.
tells you where your
It's just like
wallet
It's
is.
just like tells you where your wallet is. Have
Do
you
you
ever
like it?
lost a wallet?
No.
Okay.
You link it like your other ones. It's called other, under other, not under.
So if somebody steals your wallet, that's when it'll work.
If you left it in your coat pocket and you now didn't take it out, and it's in the wash.
I think it shows up under items.
It shows under items in your Find My.
Okay.
I think that's interesting that
Item instead
Apple
of
would
other.
let you let other people use the same technology. Did I stop sharing?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't tell.
there are a lot of trackers out there that use the Apple technology.
But isn't it strange that Apple would share that? But it does make it. Can you follow this on an Android? You can't, can you?
I don't know.
I mean, they
When
have
you
their
set it
own.
up under items. Then you have a choice of AirTag or
Other items.
Yeah,
other accessory. You have to use the other to link it. But the first one, I kept saying it was uncharged and I can't find it and I can't play the sound. Okay,
Useless.
send it back.
Have you ever set your phone down and don't remember which room you let it in, and you have to search for it with your with your watch? You just open it up and it says, and it beeps your phone. You can do that if you leave your wallet somewhere.
Well, I can see that being quite handy in a St. Louis winter because you might be going from one day when it's 60 degrees out and maybe you're wearing a light jacket. And a couple of days later, it's like it'll be this weekend when it's maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 degrees out, and you switch to your parka. But in the meantime, you left your wallet in your light jacket because it was 60 degrees a couple of days ago, and now you don't know where the darn wallet is. I mean,
And it uses that, you can, that arrow that comes on when you try to, there's a technology for following closely.
Yeah.
And so you can point to it and it goes, it's this way.
And if you're like me, sometimes you'll have that light jacket on, and maybe you'll take the jacket off because you get into the car's been sitting in the sunshine. You don't even need the light jacket because you'd be too hot. So you take the jacket off, the jacket that's got your wallet in it, and then you come inside and you've left your jacket with the wallet in it in the car. And now you think, what did I do with the wallet? And then you just use this device and you go get the thing.
It sounds like
We're all getting old.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you turn around and you do the same thing with your parka because now that it's 15 degrees out instead of 60, you put your parka in the car and you leave your parka with the wallet in the pocket in the car, and now you got to go find it again.
Yeah.
So I can see that this device could be pretty useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks,
Or
Alan.
you pull up to a bank and you got to pull your one of your cards out to use, or even a restaurant. They don't take Apple Pay and you got to hand them a card. And your wallet sits in your car, on the console there beside you.
Not good to do that. Somebody will burglarize your car.
Well,
All right, Ron, I got something I'll share with everybody. I was talking about power banks before, and remember Terry saying, well, I'm not sure about that brand. So I do have an Anchor one that I bought back in the fall. And since I've got this background on, it'll be hard to show you. So I'm going to share the Amazon page with it on there. Can you guys see that?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So Anchor came out. I needed to update my little portable power bank because the old one I had wasn't USB-C, and I just wanted a little bigger one with USB-C capable. I take it with me when I travel, or if the power goes out and I just need to charge or something like that. So this one is a pretty hefty one. And by the way, it weighs a little bit too, but it does a real nice job at charging even my MacBook Pro. And so what it's got here, and I'll show you some of these different pictures, you can see there are two built-in cables. So the one on top of it is retractable. It just pulls out and you can plug in. The other one is actually a little hand strap, and you can see it there on the side. You see the picture of the person holding it up there. You can use it as a hand strap, and then it snaps from there, and then it's a second USB-C cable. Now, they tell you it's rated for over 20,000 retractions and bends of these cables. I mean, I don't know, I don't know how many times you would do that, but anyway, so you can see, I was trying to find, so you can see kind of here using it. There's also a couple plugs on the side where you can plug a couple other devices in if you want. So it's really handy. And on the display, you can see the display there. It gives you that information on the front of it and everything. So I've really been pretty happy with this. And now the price has gone up, unfortunately. You can see now it's $119.99. I got it for $91 plus tax when I bought it. I think it was I spent $95, so it's gone up a little bit in price. But and it comes in a nice little. Let's try to hold on a second. I'm going to try to do this for you guys. It comes in this nice little travel bag, and it pulls out of here. So it comes in that little thing, and it's it's a little, sorry, I got this background. It's a little hefty weight, but it sure does a nice job at charging. And like I said, I needed to upgrade my old one because my old one was not USB-C, and so it wasn't near as effective, and I'd had it for years. So So anyway, this anchor one, and I will put real quick.
I
There's
think
a link to that in the chat.
I think it's strange the way they advertise this. 25,000 milliamp hours.
Yeah.
And milliamps. So, that's 25 amps.
Yeah.
Right?
I never
Power.
understood why they do it like that, but
It's pretty.
but I've been really happy with this one. Like I said, about the only downside is it's a little heavy. So like, when I throw it in a bag or something, there's some weight to it. That's about the only downside to it. But if you're looking for a good power bank, I like this. And again, it's a reputable brand, Anchor. So I tend to buy a lot of Anchor stuff just because I trust their products and have had good results. I know, John, I know you like Anchor products as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, anybody else? Share?
Now or let it wait another month. The other story is a little long, Ron. You want me to do it or not?
How long is it? It's only
We can
9:03.
cut you off.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a nice story. I was woken up in the middle of the night, right before Christmas with fire, fire, fire from my smoke alarms.
Oh God.
Mine do that
And
too.
it's like, okay, you got to go wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was required several years back to get a wired linked smoke alarm system before I could even get a building permit to do something in my house. Creve Coeur is pretty messy with that way. So I finally did it, and now they all scream, and you don't know which one's setting it off. So you had to go check all the batteries, unplug the batteries until you can go back to sleep after you've checked to make sure there's no fire. So that was the first time. Then it did it the next night after I changed the batteries.
Oh, no.
And you're going like, now what? Did I miss one? Did I get one that maybe it was not a good battery? The long story short is I had to finally call somebody in to check for air handler leak. It's what's got to be. It's got to be something in the circulation system. And I had no leaks, but I had a bad running capacitor that was causing the motor to run heavy, and I had a filter which I hadn't bothered to change in November, which I normally do. So that was adding an extra load, and it was the coldest night of the year in early December. Remember that night? It was so cold outside. So my theory is that it was being overloaded. It was running all night long, never giving it time to cool down. And the motor it was a hot motor smell. I could smell maybe.
Yeah.
And so the alarm was doing the right thing then.
The alarm was doing the right thing, but it sure wasn't making me sleep good. So everything was okay, checked out okay. There was no, he had a little scope and went through the whole thing. So I feel much better about my air conditioning system. He says, oh, it's 20 some years since you replaced this furnace. Maybe you ought to buy a new one, but it doesn't show a leak. So he charged me another $100 to put it on, it was an emergency call. So he charged me to replace the capacitor on the motor. And I seem to have taken care of that and cleaning the filter and buying new filters.
Yeah. David, I had a new furnace installed about in October. And when he first tested it, I guess there was a smoke or whatever comes out of the furnace.
Well,
and all my smoke alarms, just like yours, fire, fire, upstairs and downstairs.
They all talk together, yeah.
They're talking together, yes. And you don't know which one is being.
And finally, that disappeared. It dissipated at least.
Yeah, it's disturbing.
Yeah, it could be, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning. I can imagine.
2 nights in a row.
So I've got Nest devices, and I hate that they drop support. I can no longer on my phone look up the stuff on them. So now I've got to go back to dumb stuff that I actually have to go find the devices and go look at them. So like you're saying, before my alarm was the Nest alarms, I just would look at my phone. I didn't have to, and anything I needed, it would tell me where it was coming from and what was going on.
You were linked to yours. Yeah, they have them
Yeah.
electronically linked
It
nowadays.
wasn't Nest that messed you up. They sold themselves to Google. That's what messed
Well,
you up.
yeah, and you're right. And Google ended support for the thermostat and the, and then it turned out I had to replace the alarm with a new one just because it got old. But yeah.
Okay, one more quick one is that I went to Menards today to buy something, and I found they had the 15% off
Bag.
bag. Anything you put in like a one grocery sack, they give you 15% off. So I bought 2 carbon dioxides and 3 smoke alarms and said I'm going to replace them all
There you
because they were
go.
due next year.
And they all fit within the bag, so you get the 15% off. Eh?
I got that plus lots of other stuff. I'm a excellent packer.
Well,
But anyways, I keep pulling more stuff out. Pair of gloves, bird food, everything.
There you go.
David, did they have the 11% rebate option going
On
on?
top of that, I didn't ask for it.
No, they don't.
They're running. This is their special right now.
They
15%.
haven't turned that
whatever
back
fits in
on
this-
until February or something.
Whatever fits in a. It's a full size
Grocery bag, yeah.
grocery
Yeah.
bag.
Is that
Well, I
just,
wa-
or is it still going on?
It was on today.
It was on.
okay, everybody. Thanks for coming. I guess we're exhausted.
Could I show you a quick picture?
Oh, sure.
Just,
Yes,
I volunteer with a ministry down the city. We teach kids basic woodworking and carpentry and home repairs. And we keep the project simple. Let me share this. There it is. There. You see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
We teach them how to use a bandsaw. And that was one of the projects we had to make. This is low tech. But they were fun and they're useful. And I think it's something that next spring, when they open up their shop, this is something the kids could make and sell. And we made it out of scrap wood. It's not like we have to go out and buy lumber or anything. And the interesting part is the leaf on top of the apple is the bite. So
It's a
you
bite.
cut right along there and just glue it up there on top, and you're good to go.
Nice.
How'd you keep that from falling off?
It's glued.
No, the leaf, it looks like it would bend and just break off easily.
No, they got wood glue that's stronger than the wood.
Well, I also think below that, that's taken some of the weight, the body of it there, it looks like.
I know, but I just if you handle that around, it seemed like it would just pop off.
I could break it.
Steve,
Well,
Steve,
if you drop it or something,
how thick is that, Steve?
Half inch, probably.
I think they made it out of double thick 2x4.
Oh,
And
Oh.
down here, you can't see it, but there's a gap for the plug.
Oh, okay, nice.
Plug in the phone. Yeah. And this is how we make it. We've got these patterns that we cut out and we actually glue on the wood. And all you got to do is put it on the bandsaw and cut around the lines.
It sounds good.
And then
Yeah.
finish it.
Yeah, they can stain it, paint it, whatever. The kids, they come up with some old gosh awful colors. You know, like-
Well, have you seen some of Apple's designs? They're gosh awful colors too.
Okay.
That's great.
Steve, I heard your sister died. Are you okay?
Yeah, it's a sad time, but she had a lot of health problems and they just all combined. And she couldn't fight off this infection that she had. She contracted sepsis. And that's
Yeah.
just what it is. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, good luck this weekend, Steve.
Yeah,
you.
really.
Yeah, we're driving on Friday, come back on Monday, and the family's all staying in the same hotel.
How
not
far
too
you
far from the church where the funeral is. So
What town?
I was in touch, Bloomington, Illinois. Yeah,
That
she
far.
has two daughters, and the younger one, her husband refuses to fly, so they're driving. And I just got word from her a while ago. They just entered Montana. So,
Ooh.
That's a long drive across Montana.
Plus there's snow, right?
Montana is huge. Yeah, they live out on the Kitsap Peninsula on the far side of Puget Sound, so they get weather there anyway. They're used to it. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for
Hi, guys.
that words.
Well,
Okay,
thanks everybody
everybody.
for sharing
Thanks
tonight.
for all the efforts. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
All right. We'll see
Okay.
you all next month.
Night, everybody.
Bye.
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 Thanks for all the contributions.